Hi, we're live on Facebook once again, and today we're going from our studios as opposed to the apartment or the library because Sel, the housekeeper, is vacuuming in the living room. So I'm here today, and you can see the fantastic background that we have here, and thanks to the ice light, it actually is not too washed out. I wanted to pick up the thread we began yesterday. As I said, we're going to try and do this every day, and we're taking your questions, and if you have questions or comments, you can either post them directly on the site, or if there's things you want discussed here, you can get us at contact@thevj.com. I also, of course, urge you to take a look at thevj.com, the best online television and video training website in the world. Before we did online, before online existed, and of course I've been doing this for about 30 years now, I opened up something called DV Dojo, which was kind of a stupid name, but it was DVC.
It was a good name.
It's a good name, yeah. Then it was a good name because DV was the primary format in use, but today it's a little archaic. Anyway, it was on Bowery across the street from CBGB, which also has gone out of business, but was one of the biggest music venues in New York, and it was in the Bowery when the Bowery is still considered a bad place. Anyway, the point of the DV Dojo was it was kind of a video bar and cafe, and it was a place where you could come and make films, get instruction, get a muffin, get something to drink, and then we had screenings. I thought it was kind of a cool idea, even though it lost me about $700,000. It was interesting, and, well, not everything works out. Anyway, one day, a woman named Jessica Mayberry came in. I think she was a student at NYU, and she started taking the video courses and making her own video. And she went on to found a nonprofit called Video Volunteers. And the object behind Video Volunteers was to provide people in India, mostly, with inexpensive video cameras, teach them to shoot videos of their own lives, and give them a voice, which I liked a lot. I think it was a great idea. It's still in business, and you should go check out its website. At any rate, after a couple of years, I was invited to join the board of Video Volunteers, which I was more than happy to do. And there were a lot of famous people on there, great filmmakers, and one of the people I met on the board was a woman named Davina Turman, who had a very successful business in consulting with major corporations on how to handle crises. The reason I'm bringing this up is because probably one of the biggest corporate crises to come along in a long time is the fiasco with United Airlines. And I actually read a piece by Davina yesterday, which was in the Forbes magazine. And I'm not going to read you the whole thing. In fact, you can go take a look at it yourself, and we're going to post it on VJ World because I think it's worth something taking a look at with some comments that I've got. But one piece of it made me really think about some aspects of this which are interesting. As I said, her business is dealing with corporations, and she said here, and this is really about, of course, the impact with what happened with United. She said, after all, on a plane, passengers were basically incommunicado. That's until very, very recently. So people couldn't have protested easily, and they might not have been believed. The advent of video has changed all of this. And of course, this is something that corporations and industry is not really used to dealing with, the notion that everyone has a video camera. She says, all that changed. Live footage of the assault of the innocent passenger by security personnel was captured and immediately posted on social media around the world, instantly making United, she says this, one of the most hated companies in the world. That's a remarkable transition. That's a transition that's entirely due to the power of video and the internet married together, of course, of social networks. And the fact is that video cameras are now in everyone's hands. This is, as we say here all the time, a remarkable revolution in terms of power, because Mao in the 1950s, if you're familiar with Chairman Mao and his little red book, you remember? Mao said power flows from the barrel of a gun, and in 1949 that was probably correct. Today, power does not flow from the barrel of a gun. Today, power flows from an iPhone or a smartphone. And this is where power is concentrated. And so here's this multi-billion-dollar corporation, and this guy, Oscar Munoz, who's the chairman and CEO, and has clawed his way to the top, master of the universe, probably worth billions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in stock options. And suddenly he's shot to the ground. The company lost, what, several billion dollars in net worth in terms of the stock price. They would have been better off giving everybody on the plane $1 million and having them just go away. But of course they didn't realize it, and he didn't realize it, and most of these guys who are CEOs are still pretty technically and certainly video illiterate, so they don't really understand the power that's been placed in the average person's hands. Now, as Davia says in her article, and I really urge you to take a look at this on VJ World, this was probably going on a lot of other places and a lot of other airlines. It's just no one ever saw it. And around here at the VJ.com, with the boot camps and on the online training, we always say, if you didn't shoot it, it didn't happen. And of course, since until recently, only like 10 people in the world had video cameras, and they all work for CNN or the BBC. 99.99999% of what happened in the world never got filmed, and as a result, it was not real. It didn't really happen. Well, now there are 3.5 billion smartphones in 3.5 billion hands all over the planet, and pretty soon more and more stuff is going to start turning out in video, and video has enormous power that text and tweeting, for all the stuff Donald Trump does, doesn't really have, because you see it, you're there, you feel like you're there. And of course, everyone who watched that horrific video, even if the guy did hold the camera vertically instead of horizontally, remember to hold it horizontally when you shoot that kind of stuff, even when people saw the guy, and you saw the guy drag down the thing, and the woman goes, "My God, what are you doing?" You feel like you were there in the moment. So much more powerful than text. Well, a lot of stuff goes on in the world all the time. Bad stuff goes on in the world all the time, and more of this is going to start being recorded on video. You've no doubt seen the jump in the number of police brutality cases. Did you see that video the other day of the woman who was body checked and slammed to the ground and broke her teeth?
It's a new video every day.
It's a new video every day, that's exactly right. And we should be posting them on the VJ.com, all these videos that are changing the world. Because the fact is, the world was always that way, but now for the first time, we're all getting to see what the world actually is like. And you see the transition at United Airlines, it's like in an instant, because it's irresistible. Of course, in the first minute, he didn't really know how to grapple with the thing at all, and said, well, they followed the rules and all this kind of stuff. But the guy figured out pretty soon, video has an immutable power. The power of video cannot be underestimated. And married to the internet, which puts it out, you don't need the filter anymore. You don't have to worry about the filter of CNN or BBC or anybody else liking the thing or deciding to put it on or only putting it on for 3 minutes or wrapping their editorial bend around the thing. The fact is that now we are all journalists, and we all have not just the responsibility or the right to do this, what we really have is the power of television. This is a phenomenal revolution, because the power of this incredibly powerful medium has now been placed in everyone's hands, and all you have to do is pick up the phone, and you don't really need to be on a plane and have the person next to you having the crap beat out of them, although that makes a very good video. What did they say, 400 million views on this thing already worldwide?
There are like multiple videos, and they all have hundreds of millions.
They're all hundreds of millions of views, and the thing is, in China, where United wanted to set up an airline thing, I mean, these guys are just screwed. And it's not their, well, of course, it's their fault for beating the crap out of a passenger, but it's not their fault because they didn't really understand the power of television. Well, you don't have to just wait for somebody to be beaten to a bloody pulp next to you on an airplane. There are lots of things going on that you perhaps feel outraged about, or you're angry about, or you want attention brought to, or you want to make a statement, or you have something you want to say, you have an opinion. This is the medium in which to do it, because it gets results like that. And in fact, it's tragic because nobody reads anymore, but that's how life is. So the point of this story, and it gave me a very interesting idea, actually, which I'm going to raise with Davia. It's that instead of, I mean, obviously, United is reacting in a classic way now that they figured out what to do. They're apologizing, and somebody said this morning on CBS this morning that they should give this guy free first-class tickets for the rest of his life. Anyway, I don't think he's ever gone on a United Airline plane. Again, you're not going to take it. But here's what occurred to me. United probably has about 200,000 employees, I would guess. I don't really know, but we can check out the number. And all of those employees, my guess is they all have smartphones, because who doesn't have a smartphone? So every United employee has a phone and a video and the capability of making video. And the fact is, these people want to protect their jobs and defend their company. I think what United ought to do is they ought to train all 200,000 of their employees on the VJ.com to make comprehensible, compelling video in a short period of time. And then they should unleash 200,000 cameras to say what a great airline, United is, and how this was an anomaly, because that's how the internet really works. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. You know, Napoleon, I just finished reading a fascinating biography of Napoleon. Napoleon's genius, the way he conquered almost the entire world from revolutionary France, which was a complete disaster, was he equipped and empowered like 1 million peasants. This was the Grande Armée. Up until then, every army in Europe had like 20,000 highly trained people or 30,000 highly trained people. And Napoleon said, fuck it, we're going to get every peasant and we're going to teach them, you know, in 6 weeks how to be a soldier. Oh, sorry, screw it. And then they gave them all guns and they taught them to shoot. And most of them were illiterate. So they put a piece of straw on one shoe and a piece of hay on the other shoe. And they said, here's how you match, here's how you march. Straw foot, hay foot, straw foot, hay foot. And with this army of 1.3 million people, you can imagine that you're like the Duke of Prussia, and you're standing there with your 20,000 guys in their fancy uniforms with the red and the things and the hats and the cockades, and suddenly 1 million Frenchmen come over the thing with guns, and you go, whoa, what the hell? So you understand how Napoleon, he went all the way to Moscow. The winter killed him. But the fact is that it was numbers game. It was purely a numbers game with a little bit of training. I think United could do the same thing Napoleon did. I think United Airlines could field 200 or 250,000 cameras talking every day and flooding the internet about what a great airline it is and how we are the best in the world and we do all kinds of great stuff. That's the lesson. That's the takeaway here.
What would a great United video look like?
It would be like the stewardesses behind the scene going, oh, look, we have a shrimp dinner. These people, I just took care of this orphan child here I found here, and the baby lost. I mean, just like they're beating the crap out of people, there's probably good things going on also that nobody gets to see. So news and journalism don't have to be just about bad stuff. They can be about good stuff. But the whole point here is empowering people with the power of this incredibly powerful medium. And that's what the VJ.com is all about. So go check it out. And we'll be back Monday. Because it's Easter Sunday, and it's the weekend, they're having parades and stuff like that. And Brett wants to go home to Brooklyn, and I don't know why, I like it here myself. Anyway, come back Monday at 12:30, and we're going to talk about more interesting stuff. And if you have any questions or topics you want covered, contact us at contact@thevj.com. Talk to you later. Bye.